place yesterday. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go along and watch. It's not something I'm opposed to. It's not something I participate in. Every group should be allowed to have their demonstration. And what a long way it's come. I recall 10 years ago happening to be there on Oxford Street when people walked by, and right at the front holding a banner with some people, and it said 40th anniversary veteran. Wow. So Peter Tatchell was one of those who participated. So cast your minds back half a century, and homosexual acts have been decriminalised between males in England and Wales, not in the rest of the United Kingdom. Scotland will not have to wait about 1977, Northern Ireland about 1982. That's when the Reverend Ian Paisley launched his campaign, Save Ulster from Sodomy. He fought the losing battle. But anyway, even though homosexual acts between men over the age of 21 were prohibited by law, there's still extremely widespread and severe prejudice against gays, and in many careers it would have a terminal effect on your career if you're discovered to be gay well into the 90s. Indeed, in Her Majesty's Armed Forces until 2000. Remember Peter Tatchell saying, it's all very well people being Eurosceptic, but it's only because of the European Court of Human Rights that gays are allowed to serve in the British Armed Forces. Until that, if you were discovered to be gay, you were out on your ear, even if you had 20 years of meritorious service behind you, even if you won medals for valor, stuff like that. No second chances. Anyway, so it's all up to 500,000 people participated in this gay pride parade the other day. And well, it is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, whatever. So they just keep adding letters, and don't throw a wobble if somebody misses out one letter. People who are not straight, put it that way, marching from Hyde Park Corner and ending up at Whitehall. So that's the main street with the civil services on. Downing Street's just off there, so the Prime Minister's residence and so forth. So people wore all sorts of clothes, fairly unremarkable clothes in some cases. People were wearing things like that, often wearing rainbow badges, painting their faces in rainbows. So there's some people who really believe in the cause, other people just along for a good time. And obviously there's a diversity of opinion amongst the homosexual community. Not all gay people want gay marriage. Some people, who was it, David Starkey, the historian, said it's part of the baggage of heterosexuality, or not all gays believe that gay people should be allowed to adopt children, and so on. And there were some people, I think Quentin Crisp, who was the other one, that famous Labour MP, Tom Dryburgh, who regretted legalisation because they got a frisson of eroticism from the criminality of what they were up to. But I think most gays were very glad that it was decriminalised, because into the 1960s they faced a few months in jail, a fine, public ruination, and being dishonoured and so on. And now their criminal records have been wiped indeed posthumously for the likes of Oscar Wilde. Anyway, so people who were involved in 1972, they really were gallant. There was the Gay Liberation Front, which had just been founded, existed in the UK, in the United States, maybe Canada. That was about it. And there, even quite liberal-minded people tended to be very deeply prejudiced against homosexuality. So only about 1% of those born before 1940 identify something other than straight, but now it's much higher, up to 20% of people in their late teens advertising something like that. Now, it could be because they really are, and it could be because they're just persuaded by others, think it's trendy. I remember a pupil of mine years ago singing that Katy Perry song, I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It, and claiming that she really had done that. I suppose because Katy Perry is adulated, she will do it and feels that she'll be adulated as well, makes it fashionable. But then again, you could say there's heterosexual propaganda. You're bombarded with images of whatever, the prince and princess getting married, or whoever, or straight couples. And so people are told that's the norm. And indeed, that's what the majority of people want to do. Anyway, so some people who attended yesterday, they had been present in 1972. The police and other public services, the fire brigade, for years have had to hand out leaflets and things like that. And some are very happy to do so. Some of them in the past, they felt rather embarrassed about doing it. And you'll see around on Trafalgar Square, that's like the focal point of London, on the traffic lights often has the male symbol and the female symbol, even the female and male symbol together, to show this is permissible. Rainbow flags everywhere with more things on one edge of it, I think, to represent transgender people. Dame Kelly Holmes, the Olympic gold medalist, she just came out as gay, and she was in the British Army in her youth, and had she been discovered to be a lesbian, she would have been booted out. So like more than a few women in competitive sport, is in a same-sex relationship. various actors involved, and people are just celebrating around Soho. Soho being the gay village of London. Now, obviously, most people who go to Soho are straight, but there's several gay pubs. It also happens to be London's a red light district as well. An organisation taking part in Gay Pride was Dykes on Bikes, a lesbian motorcycling a collective. They're people from countries like Uganda, where homosexuality is punishable by death, who can live openly without fear in the United Kingdom. So, is there a need for Pride? I don't think there's particularly a need for it, but if people want to do this, I'm not against it. And I realise it puts heart of persecuted gays in other countries who can't openly live their identity because they live in fear that it could become like this. So the UK has got to be one of the top 10 countries in the world for gay rights, 193 sovereign states. And the UK was fairly early on in giving civil partnerships, then same-sex marriage about 2011, pushed through by a conservative government, gay adoption, all the rest of it. And there are other countries which are right up there, which would be like the Netherlands, France, Sweden, Canada. I can't think of it, but there are only about a dozen countries in the world allow same-sex marriage. Fewer than that, and there are a few more than that who allow gay civil partnerships. They're often the least religious countries in the world. So it's been incredible what a revolution in social attitudes there have been. I remember as a schoolboy in the 90s, people really did not want to be called queer. That was definitely an insult. And when I was a schoolboy, there was not one person who was openly gay out of 1,300 people. Some people, as soon as they left school, came out. So that is a curious thing. So the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, he attended. He's a Muslim on the liberal end of Islam. I wonder what he thinks about Islam and homosexuality. Some Muslims are gay, openly gay, think it's okay, but many do not. And in the Muslim community, it's fair to say, opinion polls prove there's a lot of anti-gay feeling. So the leader of the Labour Party, Sir Keir Starmer, he marched in the parade. He's straight, as did his deputy leader, Angela Rayner, and some people wearing red T-shirts, LGBT. And there was an openly gay conservative doctor who attended some Brighton Pride event. Brighton is, a few years ago, Brighton's the unofficial gay capital of the UK. And he wore a T-shirt saying, "I've come out, I'm a Tory," because in the gay community, being conservative was very much frowned upon to not so many years ago. Remember Section 28 of the Local Government Act passed under Margaret Thatcher's government, saying that homosexuality couldn't be encouraged as a pretended family relationship. But nothing in this act was going to prevent anyone saying anything that was going to prevent the spread of disease. Anyway, so there was an attack on a gay nightclub in Norway just a few days ago. And is how many people were killed? I'm surprised it's not a bigger news story. Only 2 people were killed, but 20 more injured. But some of those may yet succumb to their injuries. Anyway, so it was seemed to be a good-natured parade. I don't know if any arrests were made. So it's taken place all across the United Kingdom, but obviously particularly in London, not just because it's the capital of far the biggest population, but London's much more liberal than the rest of the country. I'm told in northeastern England, for instance, homosexuality is not so readily accepted as it is in the metropolis. Thank you for watching my video. So please donate to me on PayPal, georgecallahan79@gmail.com. Toodaloo.